Welcome to Oscalate. In this video tutorial we will introduce the Oscalate interface and show you how to start creating sounds with Oscalate. Let's start by accessing the app menu to open a new song. Let's choose a waveform, a sine wave. If the sound does not play, we can restart the sound again by enabling the envelope, and then disabling the envelope. Because the envelope is not enabled, the sound will play continuously, so we can hear changes to parameters as we make them. Along the top, on the right and left, are oscilloscopes, and in the middle is the frequency spectrum. We can zoom in vertically on the oscilloscopes by tapping the oscilloscope. Up to 10 times zoomed in, or up to 10 times zoomed out. In the middle, we have a log frequency spectrum. If we tap it, we get a linear frequency spectrum, and again to get a time evolution of the frequency spectrum. Let's tap again to go back to the log spectrum. We can also tap and hold and drag downwards to zoom in horizontally. Dragging left and right will scroll to the left and right. Sliding up will zoom out again. Let's change the frequency of the sound. We select the frequency reference parameter in the middle of the main oscillator parameters panel. The slider control appears along the bottom and is used to adjust analog values. It can be linear, but in this case it's exponential for fine control of small values. It shows the current value before adjustment, as a marker above the slider button. The minimum and maximum values for the parameter, and the current adjusted value. You change the value by dragging the slider bar right to increase the value, and left to decrease the value. The new value is shown in the selected parameter box and also at the top of the screen. The change can be undone by tapping the undo button at the top of the screen, before another parameter is selected. The value can also be adjusted by tapping away from the current position to jump to a new value. The arrows on the right and left of the slider control can be used to increment and decrement the value as well. The amount of change is defined by the step amount selected in the snap selector in the middle of the screen. When a step amount other than free is selected, the slider changes by increments of the snap selector amount. The arrows also increment and decrement by the same step amount, so, for example, if we choose 10, we can go up and down by 10 Hz. Holding down the arrows automatically repeats the increment or decrement, and speeds up the longer you press it. And if we press farther away from the slider button, it will jump a larger amount as well. Finally, if we turn on snap, the slider goes to the middle of the bar and we can adjust by increments of the step amount, and the parameter value is rounded off to the nearest multiple of the step amount. The slider also remains in the middle of the bar. So, let's set the reference frequency to the default of 440 Hz, and transpose the relative frequency down by 12 steps or semitones, which is 1 octave. We'll choose a snap amount of 1, and we'll go down 12 steps. The relative frequency is relative to the note being played. We can also set the frequency to an absolute frequency, to have an offset, and also to be inverted relative to the maximum frequency, which is 48,000 Hz in this case. The actual played frequency, which is the result of the transposition and the offset, is shown to the right of the reference frequency. A ratio can also be used to transpose the frequency. Let's put this back to 440 Hz using the snap selector set to 10. We're back to 12 steps down. There are several waveforms available: silent, sine wave, square wave, triangle, sawtooth, a sinc function, a few exponential functions that are useful for modulation, noise, DC, and trapezoid. The noise can be adjusted with the frequency. We turn off the snap selector. From bit noise, to brown noise, to pink noise, to white noise. Let's switch back to a sine wave. And we'll go back to 440 Hz.